Do we have the soundbite from President Biden on the economy? Can we play that? Let's do it.
We've made enormous progress over the past 2 years. And again, just today, reporting 250,000 new jobs. Just this last report. The last thing this country needs, after all we've been through, is a manufactured crisis. And that's what this is, a manufactured crisis. And that's what it is from beginning to end. It's a manufactured crisis driven by the MAGA Republicans in the Congress.
Okay, let me a couple of things here. Harry Hutchinson's joined us here. Okay, number one, I was traveling this last couple of weeks, so I've gone to a lot of gas stations. It's approaching what I used to call high test, 93 octane. It's approaching $5 a gallon. Interest rates are the highest they've been in 16 years, home mortgage loans. Inflation is still, it's come down a little bit, but it's still in the 6 to 8% range. So this isn't a manufactured, Harry, MAGA crisis. This is a real economic challenge that the country's facing.
I think that's correct. And unfortunately for the American people, there isn't an adult in the White House. So when President Biden talks about enormous economic progress, he's really talking about an illusion. And he's in desperate pursuit of that illusion. So, for instance, it might help the president if he talked to Warren Buffett, who expects that each and every one of his businesses to be down in 2023 versus 2022. That Warren Buffett is not a MAGA Republican. In addition, if the president decided to consult the service sector, he would find that only 52% of the service sector is likely to expand in 2023, and 48% is going to decline. Meanwhile, manufacturing jobs, transportation have been down significantly ever since November of 2022.
So if you were being the economic advisor to the White House, what would you tell him to do to get this under control?
Well, first, I would be tempted to tell him to resign immediately because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I'm not about substantively. What would you tell him to do?
But substantively, I would urge the president to negotiate with the Republicans to reduce federal spending, which is fueling high inflation rates, and it is fueling high interest rates.
So you got to get federal spending under control.
Absolutely.
What would be the second thing?
So just to finish that particular point, keep in mind the debt, the national debt in the United States is at $32 trillion. So it's quintessentially important to do something about that. Number two, the president needs to reduce job-sucking regulation coming from the White House. And so the president refuses to face the facts, particularly in the energy industry. The president should push the United States toward energy independence. That would lower fuel costs. And the idea of pushing electric vehicles in the face of higher fossil fuel prices makes no sense because 70% of electricity in the United States is generated by fossil fuels.
Regulatory reform, if it does not happen, suffocates the U.S. economy. That's just that simple. If we don't have regulatory reform, it's suffocating the U.S. policy economy. It is. And it stops manufacturing. It stops new development of technologies because the regulatory hassles are so significant, no business feels like they can surmount them.